So, of course, as many of you know, there are a lot of things going on in the scenes. Apple Music and Spotify Music, they both release their top artists or your top artists, depending on the personal people you listen to. And the Heisman candidates have come out. So I decided to do a video on a combination of those two. Of course, I'm going to start off with the Heisman candidates. But before I get properly started, make sure to like, subscribe, turn the notification bell. You guys help me out a little bit. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. Now, for the Heisman Trophy candidates, I'm going to start off with my first one, and as a Georgia fan, you already know I had to start off with Stetson Bennett. Over 3,400 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. He is also 4th in QBR. His team is 13-0 UGA. They're the number 1 team in the country and won the MVP of the SEC title game. However, I feel like out of the people on this list, he's definitely the odd one out. I think Hendon Hooker deserved it more than he did, and you can make a case that a lot of other quarterbacks deserve to be a finalist more than he did, and I don't think he should have gone over a lot of these guys. Now, as a UGA fan, of course I don't mind, but when looking at the stats and when looking at it realistically, you can see that Stetson Bennett's the odd one out here. Yes, his team is great. Yes, he's been the leader of his team for the last 2-3 years, but you can make a better case for Stetson Bennett winning the Heisman or being a finalist last year than you can this year, to be quite honest with you. I think Stetson Bennett's a great quarterback. Do not think he should be among these Heisman finalists, however. As a UGA fan, I definitely don't mind, and he's had a great season. Now, of course, for our second candidate, we have TCU's quarterback Max Duggan. 3,321 pass yards, 30 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he is 14th in QBR. Now, of course, his team is 12-1, but by a prayer from the heavens, they somehow still made the college football playoffs after losing in their conference championship game. They will be number 3. He played amazingly. Max Duggan played ridiculous going down the stretch against Kansas State, and he's really the only reason TCU had a chance to win that game. However, I don't think he has the stats to compete with this award. I think 30 touchdowns is good. I think 4 interceptions is good. I think 12-1 is good, but I don't think the counting numbers are there. Usually you look for something like 50 touchdowns, 40 touchdowns, even in the high 30s. And while I think Max Duggan is a great quarterback, I don't think his counting stats are on that level to quite consider him a top candidate for the Heisman Trophy. However, he could still win it, and I definitely think he has a better case than Stetson Bennett, a guy who we just discussed. Now, of course, going down, number 3. One guy who I think has a high chance of winning it is C.J. Stroud. 3,340 pass yards, 37 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and has the 3rd QB rate in the nation. The 3rd QBR. Of course, he has been the head of one of the most explosive Ohio State offenses we have ever seen. His counting stats are amazing, and he has a winning record. He's also going to make the college football playoffs. He will be going against my Georgia Bulldogs, and he was many people's favorites going into the offseason. A lot of people were like, C.J. Stroud is going to win this award. C.J. Stroud is our guy. I think he is absolutely amazing. That's what everybody was saying, and you can't really blame him. I mean, the dude has a great arm, elite arm talent, not the most athletic guy, so he didn't get the rushing stats. However, C.J. Stroud, being the head of one of the most explosive offenses in college football and only having 1 loss to the undisputed number 2 team in the nation in Michigan is a very, very impressive resume. I think C.J. Stroud has a huge and large chance of winning this award. However, our 4th guy, a guy who also has a large chance of winning this award, is Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has over 4,000 pass yards, 37 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and is 5th in QBR. Of course, his counting stats are really, really similar to C.J. Stroud, the guy we just talked about. Now, of course, his team did miss the college football playoffs, which might hurt him a little bit. However, his stats are insane, and when it comes to statistics, this guy is 100% superior. And when I see him extending players, he reminds me a lot of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if you watched the Utah game, or if you watched the game before the Utah game, I can't remember their opponent, but he was going absolutely crazy. I mean, there were points in the game where the guy just looked like an absolute superstar. He's really good at extending plays, running with the ball. Caleb Williams has the whole package to be an incredible NFL quarterback. However, this is college, and I think him not making the college football playoffs with his team USC definitely hurts him a little bit. Now, of course, going to my projected winner, me personally, I am picking C.J. Stroud. I think Stroud has the counting stats. Him making the playoffs is a very, very positive time. and a very positive sign in general. I mean, making the playoffs is huge when it comes to deciding this Heisman Trophy winner, in my opinion. And he seems to have the perfect mix to win the trophy. I mean, the counting stats are there. His team record is there. Making the playoffs is there. The guy's performed against just about everybody this season. I think C.J. Stroud is going to walk away with the Heisman Trophy this season if things keep going right for him. But of course, hopping into the next topic, Apple Music recently released everybody's top artists, and I wanted to start off, and I know I'm going to do other people in future videos. However, I wanted to start off with my top artist list, and I wanted to kind of react to it. So my top artists, I'm going to name you, I think I'm going to go with my top 5 or 6. I might give you one more, but however, Number one, I have Kanye West, 3,505 minutes. Now, of course, I know Kanye's name has been thrown around the media for various reasons. I'm going to start right here and say that I do not agree with any of the following controversy that has gone upon this man's name. I have no responsibility in that. However, I do think he's an incredible artist, and I do think he is the best rap artist to ever live. I think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, the album that I've actually listened to the most this year, I feel like Kanye West is the best artist of all time, especially the best rap artist. The best rap artist of all time. Let me be more specific, because the best artist of all time, I think we can all agree that's Michael Jackson, right? However, number 2, let's just say a less controversial figure, Drake with 1,207 minutes. Now, I must say this. Her Loss has a place in my heart for rap albums. Her Loss is the album of the year. I will not back down on that. Drake also had a lot of really good features on God Did, which I think is another godly album. I think Drake had a very, very strong year. I even feel like Honestly Nevermind was pretty decent. Of course, it was a dance album, but Jimmy Cooks makes that whole album better. Like, Jimmy Cooks is an incredible song. So I love Drake. I think Drake is an incredible artist. He's at my number 2 for a reason, obviously. At number 3, we have an OG, a guy who a lot of people from my time tend to really, really disrespect. And it honestly gets on my nerves, because how can you disrespect this guy? This guy was the blueprint. And if you know about the blueprint, you know I'm talking about Jay-Z with 1,124 minutes. I love Jay-Z's music. 444 is one of my favorite albums by him. I know it's a newer album. I know a bunch of older people, older heads, who've been in the rap game and the rap scene longer than me are going to say, 444 wasn't even his best album. All right, I know that. However, for me personally, I love 444. I love every song he's done with Beyonce. Jay-Z is incredible. And of course, he made an album with Kanye West. I think it was, I can't remember. It's like The Throne or something. It was something like that. And there's rumor that another one's going to be coming out really, really soon. So maybe that'll happen. Maybe that won't happen. Number 4 is Rick Ross. And I can tell you, Rick Ross is mainly from Kanye West songs, Drake songs, and that DJ Khaled album, God Did. That's where Rick Ross gets his minutes from me. Rick Ross is an incredible producer. He always has really good features, and it's probably why he's 4th on my list with 559 minutes. The guy, he's just on every song I listen to. Every single song I listen to, Rick Ross has had some form of making it a little bit better, just a tad bit better, which is why he's at my number 4. Bon Iver, not going to waste too much time on him. You probably don't even know who that is. Bon Iver pretty much goes into the Kanye West category because he's featured on a Kanye West song. I think it was Monster or something, but it was easily the most songs, or the song I most listened to this year. So that's why Bon Iver's on this list. So he's not the real number 5. The real number 5 is Lil Uzi Vert. And if you've been watching this channel for a long time, or the On The Mic Music channel that I had for a little bit, you would know that Lil Uzi Vert is one of my favorite artists of all time. I absolutely love Lil Uzi Vert. He is incredible. And while for the last 2 years, he hasn't really dropped anything significant. I mean, the last super great drop by him, in my opinion, was right before quarantine. It was Eternal Take. I absolutely love the album. Eternal Take is one of my favorite albums of all time when it comes to the hip-hop scene. So for my real number 5, I'm going to put Lil Uzi Vert in with 508 minutes. But of course, if you want to submit your own little play, or, you know, Apple playing and the other thing, the Spotify, if you want to go and submit that, most certainly do. DM me on Instagram at Micah J. Cannon, literally my first name, middle initial, and last name. So you go ahead, DM me on there, DM me your list. Feel free. I'm going to try and get all these lists down in the next couple episodes. But of course, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notification bell. You guys help me out a little bit. Without further ado, I wish you nothing but the best. Stay love, stay blessed. Without further ado, I'm going to end this video. Thank you for